If you're getting into winter backpacking or winter camping, well, there are some key mistakes that I see people make all the time, and I don't want them to happen to you. Not only can they be uncomfortable, they can kill. So stick around here, because here on Backpacking TV, we're breaking down all of the mistakes people make when winter camping and winter backpacking. Did you know that if your water filter freezes even one time, it is totally dead and useless, and you can't revive it or get it to be useful ever again? If you are using a hollow fiber filtration system, which is most of the filters on the backpacking market, Be Free, Life Straw, if it ever freezes, well, those fibers break and they cannot be repaired. And there's nothing you can do about it other than get a new filter. There are a few filters on the market that allow for freezing a few times, such as the MSR Guardian, the Rapid Pure, and the Grail. They are designed with a little bit of extra room and flexibility for allowing that water to freeze and thaw. However, most of them on the market, they're trash if they freeze even one time. It's one of the overlooked aspects of winter backpacking and winter camping. If you're counting on that water filter, well, you better keep it warm. That might mean you have to sleep with it in your sleeping bag or keep it in your jacket, because if it gets below freezing and those water crystals form and break those fibers in the water filter, well, that's the end of your water filter. Don't let it happen to you. Be proactive. Just don't let your water filter freeze.
A major mistake people make in the backcountry in the winter is underestimating the importance of layering or the types of fabric used. Simply put, don't use cotton. From your underwear and socks, use performance materials such as nylon and merino wool that wick moisture away from your body and dry quickly. Then add your layers: a light, long sleeve hoodie, a down or synthetic puffy jacket, and a hard shell. Do not hike or be active with too many layers to avoid sweating.
Being safe in the backcountry in the winter all starts with your layering system. First, that comes with not wearing the aforementioned cotton. Cotton will keep the moisture next to your skin, and it will be super slow to dry. It is heavy, it is cumbersome, it is just the least effective material that you should be using in the backcountry. You just shouldn't be using cotton at all. And the amount of times that I see people wearing hoodies, sweatpants, cotton socks, cotton underwear in the backcountry. I guess I don't see people using cotton underwear, but you know what I mean. Just don't use cotton whatsoever. Down jackets are just simply one of the most popular ways to keep you warm. They have the best warmth to weight ratio. This weighs practically nothing. I can compact it down to about the size of my fist, or maybe even less, and it's going to keep me warm in very cold temperatures. These are great when you are not doing a lot of aerobic activity. Because they are so warm, if you're actually hiking in your puffy jacket, there's a good chance that you're going to start sweating and you're going to start perspiring, and that moisture has a hard time going anywhere other than just staying in your clothes. I don't necessarily recommend that you hike in your down jacket, but they're amazing for when you stop hiking and you want to throw that layer on and be warm around camp. Now, when it's winter, it's all about moisture management. So when you're hiking, you don't want to be generating a lot of sweat, and you want to keep the elements, the rain, the snow, anything with moisture, really. You want to keep that outside of your layering system and off your body, as you can imagine. Also, something that I really love is having a good pair of long johns. Now, again, I don't really recommend hiking in long johns. It's better to be a little bit chillier while you're hiking and moving, so that you don't develop a lot of that sweat buildup that's going to come with wearing long johns on the trail if you're doing a very aerobic activity. If you're doing very mellow activity, then sure, go ahead, throw on those long johns just to keep you a little bit more comfortable throughout the day. Most people don't understand the role that nutrition has to play in winter backpacking. It is so critical to keep your body fueled. Now, that looks like eating regularly throughout the day, not letting yourself go for long periods of time in between snacks or in between meals. Your body is just working really hard to keep yourself warm. And the other underrated thing is having snacks with fatty content. This looks like eating meats, salamis, peanut butter, nuts, things like that are just have a lot of good fat content to them that will keep you warmer than just a bunch of fruit with sugar, things like that. Another thing is that it's very important to eat food before you go to bed. Your body is asking for fuel to keep itself warm. It's much like adding on a bunch of logs into a wood-burning stove before you go to bed for the night. You want to give it that fuel to keep burning for as many hours as possible to keep you warm. So eating some food right before you go to bed will really help as well to keep you warmer throughout the night. Another common mistake that people make is not understanding the importance of the sleeping mattress that's under you. It's not enough to just have a winter sleeping bag. While a winter sleeping bag by itself is amazing and are one of the best tools for having a good, comfortable night of sleep, it is not sufficient on its own. So I have here is a sleeping mattress. It's a 4-season winter sleeping mattress with a 6.7 R value. And if you don't know R value, it is the way that we measure insulation. So you might see it in ceiling insulation, R15 or something like that. The same goes for a sleeping mattress. How much insulation is between the ground, this snow that's obviously going to be very cold overnight, and you and your sleeping bag. And a common mistake that people make is that even though this is a 0-degree rated sleeping bag, it will not keep me warm at 0-degree temperatures, Fahrenheit by the way, if I have nothing under me or a really insufficient sleeping mattress under me. A lot of these rating systems, I believe, are rated for mattresses that are 5 or higher. So if you have an R3 sleeping mattress, you're probably going to be pretty chilly out there. Now there are some things that you can do. You can combine that with a foam mattress or just try to have something else underneath you. But make sure that you actually have proper insulation between the ground and you in your sleeping bag. Now when it comes time to actual sleep, I do not recommend being in a puffy jacket. There is some debate in the backpacking community, but I think that it is better to be in a simple base layer, much like this, especially one that also has a little bit of an extra hood, and just allowing the sleeping bag itself to be able to do its job. I think not only is it more comfortable, I think it actually feels a little bit warmer. So I don't like to sleep with this. In fact, these do make great pillows though, and I like to have them in the sleeping bag in general, either here, up at my head, or down at my feet, taking up some additional foot space. Also, the benefit is that the down will retain that warmth for when it's time to actually put it on, whether you need to get up in the middle of the night to go out to pee, or it's just morning time and you want to get up and start your day, you have a warm down jacket rather than a cold one. Another mistake that I see people make is not understanding their draft collar and hood system, which is a very important part of the sleep equation for winter backpacking. You've probably seen me do this little thing before, this little song and dance before, but if you don't know, having your head, hopefully you can hear on my microphone, which is in with me in the sleeping bag. I apologize if the sound is total crap. Okay, so have the sleeping hood all the way around your head, and this is now around your face. There's a little tab here. Haha! Now, a mistake that I see people make is that they dive all the way under. And now they're breathing all of that moisture into the sleeping bag rather than out into the air. Your sleeping bag itself probably also has a draft collar. Now, if you can see, this extra bit of fabric that's right at my neck is the draft collar. This goes all the way around the sleeping bag, and that creates a cinch point or a collar that goes around your neck. And what that does is it keeps the air from escaping that your body is working hard to warm up. So if you do not properly cinch up the draft collar or don't know that you can have one that you can adjust, well, you're missing out on one of the key benefits of your winter sleeping bag. If you are just using a 3-season sleeping bag, you probably don't have a draft collar in your sleeping bag. But so this is for you who do have a winter sleeping bag. Make sure you know how to use it. Now, if you have too much room in your sleeping bag, let's say you are 5'6" and you have a 6-foot long sleeping bag, well, you have a lot of dead space in that sleeping bag. That dead space is going to be hard to keep warm. So your body's going to have to work harder, and what's going to happen in all likelihood is your feet are going to be really cold. So that's where I will take extra stuff, maybe down jackets, and I'll just stuff it into my sleeping bag, put it down in my foot box, and take up all of that extra room. So there's not just a bunch of dead air in there that your body has to work hard to warm up. If you want some next level foot comfort, get yourself some down booties. I will actually sleep with these on, or at least have them in my sleeping bag ready to put on. And because they have this harder bottom, I can actually walk around in snow. One more really overlooked thing with what people sleep in is the wrong base layers. Now, this especially goes out to you ladies out there, but not exclusively so. People who wear really tight-fitting clothing, say yoga pants or form-fitting clothing, it's not actually that good to wear when you're winter camping. The form-fitting clothing does actually restrict your circulation just a little bit, just enough to make yourself feel colder. It's best to wear something loose-fitting, something that doesn't inhibit blood flow, and is just going to be really comfortable to wear. The same goes for socks. Wear loose-fitting socks, not really tight socks. And of course, clean socks that you haven't hiked in are much better at keeping you warm than those sweaty things you hiked in all day. One of the overlooked difficulties of winter camping and backpacking is water management. It's obviously critical that you keep drinking while backpacking, but what happens if your water is in frozen form all the time? Whether it's snow, the creeks are all frozen, the lakes are frozen, how do you get water? Winter backpacking and winter camping are all about thinking through any possible problems that are going to be encountered in the next 3 hours of time and taking those on before they become a problem. Obviously, one of the things that I like to do is just have fresh drinking water. Now, Nalgene's are great. The water can still freeze in these. If you have a double-walled insulated water bottle, your water is much less likely to freeze, although it still can in extreme temperatures, but it will last a lot longer. What I like to do before I go to bed is boil some water, throw it into the bottom of my sleeping bag, and it will keep my feet warm all night long. And best thing is that I will have drinking water in the morning. So that is critical because there's nothing worse than waking up and having all of your drinking water be completely frozen and you don't have the ability to boil it or to get it drinkable. So another thing that I will also like to do is before I go to bed, I'll take my cook pot and I'll just make sure that I have at least a liter of water or so in my pot. That way, if and when this freezes, well, it's already ready to be heated up and be brought back to drinking water. So best case scenario, I go to bed with a full water bottle with boiling water in here, making sure that it's sealed up tight, keeping me warm in the sleeping bag. In the morning, I have drinking water, and then I have some water that's probably ice at that point, but it's ready to be turned back into water simply by lighting up my stove and getting it ready. Side note, if you do plan on melting snow as your drinking source, it is really important that you actually start with a little bit of water in your pot. Don't just start with pure snow because it will take a really long time for that snow to turn into water if there's not some water to start with. It's a weird concept to think about. I don't know how to describe it really other than just start with a little bit of drinking water in the bottom first. Don't just start with snow. Liquid fuel canisters are a must if you're going to be doing a lot of cold weather camping because liquid fuel actually operates in cold temperatures. If you're using the isobutane like in a jet boil, well, it's going to not work at all below about 15 degrees. Now, you can invert the bottle in order to get down to a little bit less of a temperature, but it's still not going to really work unless it's warmer out. So if you're going to be doing a lot of cold weather backpacking, I highly recommend a liquid fuel system. Well, that's it for me, my friends. Those are the key mistakes that I see people make all the time when it comes to winter backpacking and winter camping. I want you to have a great experience, and I hope that this video helped. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure that you like the video and subscribe here to Backpacking TV. Love to see this community grow. And yeah, I'm gonna go settle in for a nice chilly night of winter camping here. All right, everybody, I'm Eric Hansen. I'll see you later.